His Excellency Mr. Stanislas Kamanzi, Minister of Lands and Environment of Rwanda. Your Excellency, you have the floor.
Madam Chair, ladies and gentlemen, the people and the government of Rwanda join the rest of humanity today to take on what may be the most important assignment of this generation. This conference and its outcome shall guide the nature of future human cooperation for a long time. So let me congratulate the Right Honorable Rasmussen, Prime Minister of Denmark, for assuming the presidency of the conference and its activities. Rwanda is delighted to be associated with the common position approach that Africa has put forward to come up with a fair and legal binding global climate regime. In this regard, Rwanda strongly calls upon all the parties here present to agree on the main parameters and benchmarks that are critically needed to resiliently tackle the challenge of climate change that is an obstacle to human development worldwide, while already a threat to human survival among vulnerable developing countries. This includes Africa and the small island states with limited capacity to adapt to its negative impact. Madam Chair, my delegation is slow to address the COP15 coincides with a very critical moment of the proceedings of our deliberations. It's now 2:30 a.m. Our teams are still working hard, negotiating an outcome. The message is clear that the world needs a collective bargained deal, legal binding, with clear responsibilities articulated. Excellencies, the energy, resources, and commitment deployed towards an outcome here in Copenhagen is commendable. But we should be mindful about the cost of a hastily crafted document. The delays currently threatening the success of this conference are not due to new variables introduced during negotiations, but rather caused by lack of goodwill by the parties to conclude. In the end, this will be the biggest lesson from Copenhagen as we move forward. Madam Chair, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, there is no doubt that we need an international agreement that determines the global mitigation effort, both for developing countries to respect their commitments and for developing countries accompanied by associated support for adaptation, financing, and technology transfer. Let us make it very clear that the extent of the challenge calls for the developing world also to seriously consider alternative growth strategies from the status quo. It is encouraging that many developing countries have already made it a political goal for their mid- and long-term perspectives to adopt carbon-free economic development. Rwanda takes pride to be part of this revolutionary new approach to development. Furthermore, Rwanda is steadfastly poised to provide her modest contribution in the sequestration of greenhouse gases through intensive forestation activities. It gives me pleasure to say that as part of our annual national tree planting campaign, and by way of reducing the carbon footprints related to our travel to Copenhagen for the conference, we have planted up to 40 million trees during the October-November season this year alone. On this note, I want to take this opportunity to conclude by reminding parties here present that we are the group lucky to be entrusted with saving our planet. We cannot afford failing to take on this. We cannot afford failing to take on this rare privilege. 4, it's not a matter of choice, but one of the survival for humanity. I thank you very much for your attention.